Welcome back to the Relationship Mentors podcast. On today's episode, we are going over common misconceptions that women have about men. So it wasn't until I got into a relationship with Charlie, which I actually realized I had so many thoughts
And
beliefs about men, because like human behavior and like human interaction, how the opposite sex works, or how like just humans interact with each other, has been something that I've always been interested in. And so I always had my own beliefs, or like what I've seen online. There's a lot of different types of men and characters out online giving advice, saying what they like out of a relationship, what their viewpoints are, and just remembering and realizing now that that was just their viewpoint rather than actual advice on how all men think, even that their language was all men are like this, all men are like that. And so I already had this like
skewed perspective.
very skewed perspective about men, and like all men only want this, or this is what they want and this is what they like. And then it wasn't until I got into a relationship with Charlie that it's like, oh wow, when someone genuinely loves you, they genuinely want to make it work. And there's so many things that you do for me just out of the act of you loving me.
Yeah.
Not because I'm doing something for you or because you're getting something out of it.
And you can grow up watching movies and see a lot of influence from there. And you think, oh, this is what a relationship's like. You can't fully trust a man, or all men cheat, or all men treat women like shit. And you can look at your past experiences as well, be like, oh, fuck, is this what all men are like? It's like, no, maybe just the one or two men you've been with.
Yeah, exactly. Or like there's some men on the internet like all men want a girlfriend that can cook and that cleans and like looks after the kids. But in reality, that's not all men. That's just him specifically.
Yeah. And then you have your past experience of maybe your first boyfriend, and then that's how you see men. And then you look online and your brain looks for evidence to confirm your existing beliefs. So it shows you evidence of the same type of men, and then it can really get skewed. So I'm really excited to get into today's episode and see what you got down.
Absolutely, because it's like going on to what you said as well. It's like with beliefs are just formed over so many years that even still in our relationship now, like you're doing something and then an old belief will come up of like, wow, I actually used to think the complete opposite of that, but you're literally showing me that that's not the case.
And you need to experience a new belief and see some new evidence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, amazing.
I love that. So with these questions here, or I have a fair few dot points. So they're just different questions that girls or women have had about men online. And I'd love just your thoughts and opinions on if you believe it's true or a misconception.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the biggest one that I've seen a lot online is a big conversation about girls saying that when they are going on dates with like a first date, second date, so very early on, like first meeting or first courting time, is that they are the only ones actually asking the questions. That it's like they're going on these dates and the date is meant to be, so you are getting to know the other person, but shouldn't the other person also be wanting to getting to know them? But there's a whole trend or section of social media at the moment where it's women are finding that they are the only ones asking the questions, and if they don't ask the guy a question, nothing
the conversation
happens.
will end.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the biggest fear on a date. It's like just showing up and you got nothing in common, and then you start speaking, and then all of a sudden there's nothing else to talk about and you're only 10, 15 minutes in. That can be a big fear going to dates for people. And I don't feel like I've had a first date where I've been the most conversational out of us and asking all the questions, and there's just nothing receptive. Like it's not coming back the other way. So I really don't think it's a man thing. It's a person thing.
Yeah.
And it probably is more common for men to not have the conversational skills compared to women.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Like my thought, like I did bring this up to you when I was seeing it online. I'm like, oh, I wonder why that is. And when you said the exact same thing to me of like, it really is just the person rather than it being a man thing. And I think that's so true, because it's like maybe one girl just saw a TikTok and then realized, oh yeah, that's me too. And then that's how it formed. However, yeah, I definitely have seen it both ways. Like I've been on past dates where they haven't asked any questions. Our first date, we both asked a lot of questions because we both genuinely cared, but it's just a personality trait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when someone asks you a question, they don't care so much about the answer to the question. All they're saying is, please give me something interesting for me to dig more into so I can improve this conversation.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, I really want to know about this specific thing. Don't give them a concise answer. Leave them something, like open a curiosity gap with them and like get them to dig a little bit deeper. Like with answering the question, mention something else within answering it so that they can dig deeper on that section. It's like help the other person have a good conversation. Don't just answer the question they're asking. Because most of the time, people don't care about the question you're answering. They care about you revealing more interesting things so they can dig deeper into who you are.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I remember you teaching me that like many years ago, because I would ask questions for the exact reason that you just said. However, when questions were asked to me, I'm like, oh, they were just asking to hear that answer. So it's really interesting that I perceived it differently when the question
especially on the first date. Like if someone's a bit nervous, is like, please give me more information. Because if someone asked me a question on the first date, I would share a bit of a story and then give an answer, and then like, oh, that story, like what happened there? It's like, oh, this is this, and they can relate to that. And then it just makes it so much easier, right?
Yeah, just thinking about other times I ask you questions now in our relationship, and then you start somewhere else. That I'm like,
Yeah,
where are you going?
now we know each other well.
Yeah.
You get a bit annoyed with that.
All right, so next question is, what is your opinion on what women bring to the table?
Yeah, I feel like that's a huge thing in a relationship, appreciation. I feel like, for example, if a man goes out to work and a woman stays home and looks after the kids, a lot of people can see that as the man providing more value than the woman. And then the woman can see that as her providing more value than the man. And it's like, if they both feel like they're doing more than the other, then that's not going to be much appreciation in that relationship. And that's where a lot of problems stem from. So a lot of people think value is tied to money. And that's why so many women want to feel valuable, and they're not getting it in the sense of being a mum or being a wife. So they go out into the workforce to try and get that perceived value from society, where in matter of fact, people need to see the value that a mother provides and a stay-at-home mum provides. And yeah, I don't think it's being seen.
Yeah, I think it's definitely being more seen now. I think it's becoming more polarizing on the internet for sure, where I feel like it's been asked for decades now of, but what do women bring to the table? It's like a man, and we do this and we do this and we do this and we're bringing all this to the table. And then, so there's really been debates online over the last few decades about this. However, it still is a question and a comment that still keeps being brought up in sections of the internet. And yeah, because like there's so many different dynamics of in history, men have always said that like they bring their finances into the relationship, but now after many years, women can open up their own bank accounts, they can have own their own stuff, have their own job. So then it's like, if women are also bringing that to the table now, then it's still questioning that. So I think in our relationship, what you've done really well is you've always shown me appreciation for everything that I do around the house, and how you said something this afternoon, which was like,
I provide the house, you provide the home.
Yeah.
And you alchemize all, like, I feel like I bring the 3D stuff into the relationship, and Mia just alchemizes it into love and makes the relationship and the home so nurturing.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. You said, I said, thank you for, one, you did cook dinner and everything, but I was like, oh, thank you so much for the food. It's so amazing. Like, you put on, every time Charlie cooks, it's like everything in the fridge. Like, if we have 3 different types of meat, he will cook all 3 types of meat for one dish. So it's very extravagant. It's very, very sweet. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much for providing all the food and cooking it. Like, so appreciative of it. And he's like, thank you so much for alchemizing everything into love, which I thought was really, really sweet. And that always makes me feel appreciated.
Amazing. Yeah, women bring so much into the relationship, and it's different every single relationship. The most important thing is seeing the value your partner brings and seeing the value that you bring. And when 2 people have different value sets, which is totally normal in a relationship, it can really get overlooked. So just really paying attention to that will have a big effect.
Absolutely. And seeing how that each value really benefits the other.
Yeah, it's like, how does your partner getting what they want help you get what you want, and vice versa?
Yeah, I feel like that's always the best advice. Showing appreciation and then realize how your partner
Getting what they want helps you get what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a tongue twister. Hey?
Perfect. Okay, so the next one is, I feel like this just reminds me of very like high school boy type of thing. However, I do know there's still men or guys out there that could be doing this. However, it is, if a woman sends nudes, how likely is the man to save them and then show them to his friends?
Well, if they're from a girlfriend, chances are it's a no, like won't show it.
Maybe
it's
if
so
they're
individual,
like,
hey.
What if they're just like sexting in the talking stage? If they're just...
Oh, like, God, a random story just came up. I used to be friends with this guy in Brisbane, and he was just a loose guy. He was a tradie. He was like always on the piss. And then he was dating this woman who was a mum, and oh my God, she used to put things up and send photos to him, and then he'd show people, and it was so gruesome looking back. That story came up, so I had to share it.
That's fine. Oh, I think, yeah, it was like my mind just was like, I knew there was going somewhere like that of nudes. But yes, okay, so then the point is, for his point of view, why would he, from a girl's point of view, why does a guy do that? And after you answer that question, how many guys out there are doing that?
I feel like because he wanted to be, you know, like the life of the party, the funniest one. Oh, like he's a wild cunt. He's doing all this and he's getting this chick that's messaging him. Like to have a joke to share, to have something funny to show the boys. Like that would be the motivation, I feel. And if the relationship gets to a stage, this shouldn't be the case at all. Yeah. But like if you have respect and want to pursue a woman, you should not show that to your mates. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But like I get it from, like I get the scenario that you just explained, but then there's also a part of me that is like, oh, but I think it's just like my like romantic innocence of like, you can do all that stuff, but like it's so like nice to keep it private between you guys and just like those moments. There's like each to their own.
Each to their own.
But anyway, going back to the question, like how
many?
No, how likely is it? Yeah, how likely is it for a guy to save the nudes that you send him and show his friends? So I'm feeling like it could be in a relationship. That one was a married relation. But the question, when I read this, I more so pictured it being like there's a lot of like talking stages, or we're just like, I can't even remember.
Like Snapchat nudes.
Situationships, yeah. Snapchat nudes. I know there's some girls that have been like talking and texting guys for like years. Like it's never like something serious. It's never an actual relationship. But whenever they're bored, they just they both entertain that. Yeah,
it depends on the immaturity of the guy and how much he cares about being a show off in front of his mates, and how much he wants to be, I don't know, the laugh of the group.
Yeah. So you even saying that though, it's like I would have perceived a lot of men, if not all men, to be that naive and that show off. Like that was my belief of all men.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like you saying that, like if I heard that on the podcast like a couple years ago, I would be like, yeah, well that's all men.
Yeah, wow.
So that's why I think the question was like, how likely is it for them to do that?
I don't know, like the group of guys I'm with now, like
I know
the chances are it's a no.
That's why I thought it would be so good for
the group of guys I was in like 5 to 8 years ago, more likely. You know what I mean? It just really depends what circles you're floating in.
That's what I thought it was, because that is actually so true. Because when I look at you and like our guy friendship circle, I can't see that ever happening. However, me picturing any other guy group that I had experienced previously, I would have thought, yep, like, okay, that's a really
Yeah.
common thing. And it just goes to show it's so easy to believe that all men are like this, because once you have a perception of what men are like, you just keep attracting that, even in friends, things like that. You're just seeing it, that like I would have never believed if someone told me, yeah, like that your
Yeah.
friendship of guys even existed or were real.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next one. So, next question is, do guys stop respecting girls or lose respect for girls if they give out on the first date?
I feel like they can do. If it's too easy, the thrill's over, like the thrill of the chase sort of thing. And a lot of guys pursue dates in order to just sleep with them and get the validation from, I did this thing, it's a checkpoint, I managed to do this. Whereas if you're trying to build a genuine connection with someone, like if the woman goes in with it wanting to build a genuine connection and you don't 100% know the guy's intention, it probably is better to hold off on the first date to really, build on the friendship, build on the connection, build it up way slower, enjoy every little bit rather than just jumping straight to it. But also there's great relationships out there where they did sleep with each other on the first date. So it depends each situation, but an overall thing, I'd say if you're going in with the intention to build a genuine relationship, I'd say let it build up slower rather than just going straight for it.
Yeah, I'd love you to share something that you shared with me of like that men love the hunt. And we do hear that a lot within the relationship world. Like men love a hunt, like let them pursue you more.
Yeah, it's like men want to pursue and women love being pursued. So if you just end the game on the first night, then that's, I don't know.
Game done.
Yeah, like game over in a lot of cases, unless they're really into each other and they want to keep going. But it's like, if you keep this sounds bad, but the game going longer and let him keep pursuing, you can really see what his values are and like, is he actually in this for a relationship or is he just trying to get his end away?
Yeah, you can get so clear on what his actual intentions are. Because like I was saying, there's some guys that pursue, like when you first shared that with me, I was sharing how a story of someone that I knew was being pursued by a guy, and he seemed amazing. They seemed so sweet. They had been talking for ages, like for such a long time. Like it definitely seemed like it was, going on, like clear on what his intentions were, things like that. And then after many months, if not almost a year, they ended up sleeping together. And then after a week after that, everything just ended.
Yeah, the guy went radio silence.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because Charlie called it like 2 months before it happened, because I was explaining it to you.
As soon as he sleeps with her, he won't contact her again.
Yeah, and I was like, no, absolutely not. Like he's saying all the right things, da. And then 2 months later,
because I heard about the type of guy he was, I was like, as soon as he sleeps with her, that's gonna be it. The fun of it will be over. Like the thrill of the chase will be over, and that's exactly what happened.
It was so interesting. So it's like, being in a relationship with you has really helped me change my perspective on men and just realize that there are some men out there that do have all these qualities that we hear a lot of negative men have, but there's also guys out there that genuinely have such great intentions. Excellent. Okay, so next question is, do you believe men have it easier
in life? Is that the question?
No, well, I just thought
that's a big question.
Yeah. So it was just men have it easier. I'm guessing in life.
In life, do men have it easier? There is the big conversation about men are born without value and women are born with value.
Yeah.
Women are born with an innate purpose of being able to reproduce and having a womb and having that purpose and that value to the world. Whereas men are born without value. They have to build up their value to pursue a woman and pursue friend groups and pursue a career. Whereas a woman can lean on her beauty, and then imagine like a guy spending 60 years building a company, and then he buys this yacht and he's like, fuck, it's all my hard work. And then a woman who's 20 years old, looks really beautiful, can get straight on that yacht. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole Andrew Tate situation. He talks into that a lot of, men have to build up their value, whereas women are born with value because of their beauty.
It's so interesting. It's like I did zone off for a second there. It's like when you said women are born with value.
Yeah.
Like something that came to my mind is like, it is so interesting because what's spoken about a lot over the last, if not like decades, if not centuries, is that women's purity is a really big thing that's always been spoken about in society, of like women maintaining their purity, but it's never been set. Like I've never heard or seen someone say it to a guy. Does that make sense? Of like,
His
like,
purity.
Yeah,
it's not a thing. Hey,
so I only had that realization as you were talking. I'm like, yeah, that's so true, because it's like they say women are born with their purpose.
With purpose. With they have a womb and they can bring life into this world, and men do not have that.
Yeah, and not saying that that is their purpose to give a child, but having a womb is just so much more energy from source and things like that. Like they say you're so much closer to the creator because you can bring in a whole human and a whole soul and everything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just really interesting of how, the purity thing.
Yeah, it's like, do men have it better off? In a lot of cases, no. Like most suicide is men, most people that die at war are men, most people in prison are men. Like there's a lot of those statistics. I know women have been suppressed over generations, and also seeing the men's side of like those statistics.
Yeah.
Peterson really talks into this a lot, of like both men and women have been suppressed through society.
100%. And I think that's something that doesn't get spoken about enough is men's suppression as well, because there definitely is, men and women have both been suppressed by the same system. However, moving past that, I do believe that both men and women have it easier and harder, just all in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. It probably evens out after a while.
Yeah, because like I think it's so different in many ways that it almost can't be compared.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Okay.
That was a big topic to get into. We could riff on that for hours.
Yeah, that could be its own podcast, but I don't know how controversial it would be. Okay, next question is, I feel like this is a very common one that you see online, and I feel like a lot more girls are being like empowered, and they believe being empowered means that the guy should pay for the first date. So what are your beliefs on?
It's like the man should want to pay for the first date. It would make the man feel really good and the woman to feel looked after and cared for. So ideally, the man should want to pay for the first date. It shouldn't be a have to.
Yeah.
He should want to. So I feel like, like if I went on a first date, I'd want to pay for the first date.
What if he doesn't want to pay for the first date?
It's a bit of a, I don't know.
Like
if I was to put myself in a woman's shoes, I'd be like, that's a bit of a weird, I don't know, it's a bit of a turn off.
But yeah, what does it mean from a guy's point of view if he doesn't want to pay for the first date? Like if he doesn't want to pay the whole bill, if he is wanting to go half, or he...
What does it mean? It could mean a lot of things.
I know.
It could mean he's broke. It could mean he is making a statement by doing that of, I don't know, wanting to be equal. It could mean a lot of things.
Is that a bad thing, or?
It can be a bad thing. I don't know. There's so many situations where it could be a bad thing and could be a great thing. Well, I don't think it could be a great thing, but just just make it.
If he doesn't want to pay, it could be a great thing.
Actually, it could be.
I'm broke as fuck.
Yeah. It's like, just don't make it complicated. Just take the bill. If you're a guy, like if you ask her out, take the date. It's like, ideally the guy pursues the woman and he asks the woman out, and if the woman agrees to go out, he should pay because he's the one that asked her out.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've heard people say as well. It's like, if she's asked me out, then she should pay.
Yeah, I think 50 Cent said that, didn't he? There's a video clip of him. It's like, who pays for the first date? Whoever's idea the date was.
Yeah, that was a clever one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I feel like, if you're the man, take the lead, pay for the date, and it's way less complicated than just fluffing around with, oh, she had the chips and I had the olives and she had the margarita.
That's never happened to me on a date.
Yuck.
But only because I felt like I always felt so uncomfortable if someone else paid for me that I would never allow it to happen, that I would always just get the whole bill.
Yeah, you just
and
grab
that,
it all.
The conversation would never even come up to like split, or like if they were paying. It was just so, just like, ah. But anyway, I've learned how to receive now, so it's great. Charlie pays for everything. It's great. Okay, so the next question is, Uh, okay, sorry. The next question is: are men only interested in sex
No.
in a relationship?
No. If you leave a relationship, the thing the guy would miss is the friendship, the connection, the being taken care of, the nurture. It's not the sex. If you leave a relationship, like I was in a long-term relationship, then you leave it. The last thing you think of is the sex. It's the warmth at night. It's the cuddles. It's the being friends with someone. It's like losing your best friend. That's
Or
the
like
thing you
having
miss the
that
most.
interaction throughout the day or things like that.
Yeah,
I'm
what
guessing.
makes a man interested in the start can very much be attraction and wanting to sleep with you. And then for that still to be the thing after years, it's like, that'd be very shallow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet in 0 cases, it's still that after years and years and years.
It's so interesting because, well, first I hesitated so much with this question because I read it as a men interested in the same sex. And I'm like, that's a really interesting question to ask. Like, yeah, that's fine. But yeah, with my thoughts on this, I feel like I would have believed that in the dating phase of like, they're only going on a date with me because they want to have sex with me. What are your thoughts on that? Like, not in a relationship, it's in the dating phase.
Yeah, 100% could be the case. Like, so many guys get their validation from sleeping with women. And it's so normal for a man, his main focus to be, I want to sleep with this person, not build a relationship with this person. And if he's a great guy, he would say his intentions up front and not lead the woman on. But so many guys promise the world to the woman and say, yeah, let's go on more dates. I feel like there's something really here, and then sleep with her and then ghost her completely.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of guys who do that, and yeah, this changes every person and what stage that guy's in. Like if he's filling a void in his life, and if he's feeling a lot of emotions and he's trying to distract himself from them, then he could use sleeping around as a distraction. And then a few years down the line, he could have changed that.
Very true. And it's like, it's super important. It's like the more personal development that you do and like make sense of other people's behavior as well, you can start picking up those signs of the people that are genuinely interested, or the one like genuinely interested in having a relationship and genuinely interested in you, or just genuinely interested in the next step that you're going to take after the date.
And just trusting your judgment while you're on the date. It's like if you're really feeling it and you're getting along so well and you want to sleep with them, like sleep with them. But yeah, just having your judgment on the night.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, last question.
Yeah.
So the last question is, do men prefer casual relationships to committed relationships?
It's such a thing with these questions. It changes every time. And
these, and that's why they're very common misconceptions as well, because with
a lot of women can believe
these,
all men are like this.
Yeah, because a lot of these questions are like, at one point in my life, I have thought that. And I did very much think of like, okay, well, I've seen this to be true. So I've seen this to be true in one man or several men or boys, if you say, that I was like, okay, I've seen it enough times to believe that all men are like that. And then now being older and like being
so old. Yeah.
like being in a relationship with you and interacting with more high quality and high value men, it's like, it's actually, not the case. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like I've got a male friend now who he's ready to commit to a woman. Like he's so excited to commit to a woman and he doesn't want to just sleep around with someone. Like he has no intention for that. And then there's other guys who want a quick fling. And yeah, I've been in both boats. I've been in boats where I'm like, fuck, I want connection with a female, but I'm not wanting something serious. And I've been in a boat where I'm like, I'm only wanting something serious. So it really depends what you're doing through the time. So as a generalization, men do not always want to, I don't know, it depends on their values at the time, right?
Yeah. I hear it but that's the same as like saying that women are the same as well.
Yeah.
Where I feel like a misconception with women is believing that all women want a committed relationship.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that is actually a misconception. But you can see that more of a percentage are wanting a committed relationship. So is there like more of a percentage that you believe? for
Probably.
men?
Yeah, more men would look for short term and more women would look for long term, I believe, as a generalization.
Yeah. I was reading something today which I found really interesting, and we'll find out throughout life to see if it to be true, is that through like 18 to like 35, that they say like men hold the power within that. Like a lot more men are wanting situationships, I
Okay.
would say, like casual relationships. But then by the age like 35 to 40 is that when that power shift changes, and where it's men actually wanting the committed relationships.
Yeah, because they're like,
And
fuck, time's running out.
because that's when they're wanting to settle down and do all this stuff, where the other women have already done that, and they're just, I feel like they say in their
Extended adolescence.
40s,
Yeah.
like women in their 40s is like when they just are so sure on who they are.
Yeah.
They're just like, they know what they like and what they want to put up with and things like
Yeah.
that they just become less tolerant to men that are just deciding to settle down. So then they say the power really goes into the women's side
Yeah,
more.
the cougars know what they want. What?
Fair. Is there any other misconceptions that you believe that women have about men?
Just the opposite sexes. I'm sure like society is set up so it teaches you to hate the opposite sex. Like
Yeah.
so many guys in my DMs saying like all women are like this, and then so many women saying all men are like this, and it's just like, fuck, if you've had 2 interactions with a person of the opposite sex and they've been the same, it doesn't mean all men or all women are like that. And just be careful of your perspective, because you start seeing evidence to confirm your existing beliefs. So just question things and realize not all people are the same. Like if your last 2 partners cheated on you, it's like, where's that in you? Is there a self-worth piece missing in you? Because all men aren't like that, or all women aren't like that.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's the last thing I'd say on that.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just every single relationship is different. Like every single person is different, and we all have our own values and respect for ourselves and respect for others. And that a lot of things that they say is like men do this and don't like this and have to do this. It's like majority of the time it's not labeled to men or women. It's just people.
Yeah, legit.
Yeah.
What are you excited about this week, Mia Cherry?
This week
We're seeing our baby again.
we're seeing our baby again on Wednesday. We have another scan, which is exciting. I think what I love about this pregnancy is like how many scans we are actually getting. Like we've had, well, just further along in the process now.
Yeah, this is going to be our 4th scan.
Yeah, our 4th scan, which it actually, like I love getting to look back at the photos, because I save all the photos on my camera roll, and I look at my camera roll every day since we post every day.
Yeah.
And just getting to see Bub and all her like little
feel her
movements
now,
and
yeah.
and then looking at our last scan videos and photos and comparing them back to the 12 or 13 week scan.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, she's grown so much now. And like for me, it just gives me so much more reassurance of getting to see her. And
Yeah.
so it's like, I genuinely love that we're getting to see Bub so much more.
It's going to be so sweet.
Yeah.
Love it. That's what I'm excited about too. Seeing Bub. And yeah, I'm going camping next weekend as well. I'm excited for
yeah.
that. Going away for 2 nights. Like into the bush with a bunch of guys, staying in a cabin on the top of the mountain. Like, sounds super gay, but
Yeah. It's just,
does it? Like a
Yeah.
Brokeback Mountain thing. But yeah, I'm really excited to disconnect from city life for a little bit. And I told Mia, oh, it'd be nice to have like a couple days apart. And she took it as so much rejection. So that was super, super cute. But I think it'd be really nice.
yeah, I think it would be so nice. I think the part of it was like just reminding myself, it's like, no,
It's not rejection. It's not rejection.
It's not rejection. It's just like you're genuinely excited to go on this trip.
Yeah.
And I think there's a part of me that's more sad about it, only because I was meant to go on a family holiday on Friday when you were meant to go. And then now I'm not going on that. And I'm just going to be home by myself. And so I was like meant to go onto this exciting trip. And then
I've got an exciting trip.
and now you have an exciting trip. But it will be fun.
Yeah.
Just need to like remember that it gets to be exciting for me. Just that my days are staying the same.
Oh, you can have people over.
Yeah, for sure.
House party.
You're a rager.
Thank you so much for listening. We are filming this on a Sunday night and it comes out tomorrow morning. So
Less than 12 hours.
less than 12 hours producing. Yeah, it comes out. Yeah, less than 10 hours. That's how fast we turn this shit around. So up to date. Thank you so much for listening. And we release an episode every single Monday. And we hope to see you guys next week.